episode 5 of my training running vlog as I'm racing 100 miler every month for the past 2.5 years. This episode has a little bit of a surprise. I was supposed to rest and start back training after Cocodona 250, but I got way too excited about racing Bryce Canyon 100 miles. So 1 week after racing Cocodona 250, I signed up, lined up, and raced Bryce Canyon. Hi, Simon here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my training running vlog. In this training vlog, I'm going in detail into my training, my preparation as I'm racing 100-mile ultramarathon at least every month for the 3rd year in a row. The past few weeks have been pretty intense. I raced Zion 100 mile, 2 weeks later Mount Fuji 100 mile, 1 week later Cocodona 250. So I was very much looking for recovery. But I was also very excited about a race, Bryce Canyon 100 mile, that has been on my radar for the longest time. And this is a race that only happens every other year. So if I didn't do it this year, I'd have to wait 2 years. I didn't sign up for Bryce because I felt it was way too close to a 200 miler. But I kept thinking, if I recover quickly, I'm going to treat myself to a nice little race, Bryce Canyon 100 mile, which would actually complete the trifecta, the triple crown of the vacation race within the same year. So Antelope Canyon 100 mile, Zion 100 mile, and now Bryce Canyon 100 mile. And of course, there's been things in between. So it's been pretty intense, of course. So I actually did the math within a 21 period time frame. I did Fuji, Cocodona, and Bryce, which equals about 450 miles, about 80,000 feet of elevation gain, and about 155 hours actually racing. So needless to say, now I'm in recovery mode for real. So today we're gonna go through healing, tapering ahead of Bryce Canyon, recovery after Bryce Canyon, how Bryce Canyon itself went. And because I think I can go through all of that fairly quickly, there's a little bonus. Some of you might know I was interviewed after my race at Cocodona, so a post-race interview by Mountain Outpost. It's on their live stream, but there were a lot of questions in the chat that I didn't get the opportunity to answer, so I'm gonna answer them at the end of this vlog. But let's dive right in. So week 10 of the training vlog, so happy birthday! There was not much going on. It was right after Cocodona 250. I was decently wrecked, but luckily, and you might have heard me complain a lot about work and not being able to rest and sleep. Actually, that week was pretty decent. I worked reasonable hours, so about 40 hours, so an actual 9 to 5, and that made a huge difference. I was able to recover properly. I was sleeping well, and also I had to put the Cocodona movie together, which is a lot of work. But I need to admit, I was super tired. You kind of, after a 200 miler, you're at least I was kind of a little bit in the clouds, or I don't know how to, like in the fog a little bit, and my brain was just tired, and I just need the extra rest. So I would go to bed at a reasonable time. I would sleep a reasonable amount of time, and the fact that work was letting me do that was a fantastic. You do what you gotta do, and that really helped me recover fairly quickly. In terms of trouble that I had after Cocodona, I've discussed about it. I had blisters, but there's not much you can do about blisters other than time. My muscles were sore, but it wasn't that bad. Tiredness, well, I slept a lot. Hungry, well, I ate a lot. And then the last one is my elbow. My elbow got swollen during Cocodona for whatever reason. It's probably bursitis because of the movement with the poles. I went to the doctor. He actually removed some fluid out of that. He did some testing. It was not gout, so there were no crystals. It might have been an infection, but there was not much bacteria, but he still prescribed an antibiotic just in case. It didn't actually resolve it, so my impression is that it was not an infection. It was just inflammation, and it's gonna die down hopefully within 2 or 3 weeks. But it was still pretty swollen during that week. But even coming in Bryce Canyon, it was not 100%, so I made the decision, even though there's quite a lot of climb over there, that I would not be using pole, because I really think it's because of the pole that I had problem. In terms of training in that week, look, there's no training that you actually do. Active recovery at best, and that's really what I did. So for example, Monday I was feeling good enough that I decided to go at the gym and just did a recovery ride. Then I went to the sauna. I'm actually not heat adapting anymore. That was really for recovery. I think it's really helpful to get warm a little bit and then massage my muscle and stretch a little bit in there. I guess you could compare it almost to a hot yoga session minus the yoga. Tuesday, I took a 0 day. Also, Tuesday, I think, is the day that in the evening, we actually recorded our podcast with Brian. So Coach Brian and me, we have a podcast called Buckle Up with Brian and Simon. And we talked about our experience at Cocodona with a good friend of mine, Chad. And that was really interesting because you had a very fast runner, Chad, who did in the low 80s. You had me, kind of a mid-packer in the 94 hours, and you had Brian, also decent runner that was about 104, I think. So you had kind of a gap between us, and that's interesting to see how things are slightly different based on how fast you were going, but at the same time, we're facing the same trails, the same climb, the same challenges. Wednesday, I did my little recovery walk, 2 miles, usually at lunchtime, just to get my leg moving a little bit. I'm working a desk job, so I don't get to move much during the day, and I think it's good to not be sitting down for such a long stretch of time. So whenever I can, that's what I do. In the evening, I was able to go to the gym. Again, small recovery ride, followed by sauna with some stretching and massaging my legs. But already by then, I was feeling pretty good, and I was already almost 100% decided that I would race Bryce Canyon 100 mile. I felt I was getting pretty recovered. And then Thursday, Friday, well, I mean, you have to drive 10 hours and we are working during the day. So we drove in the evening and we were able to make it in time to register at 6:30 in the evening Friday. But that meant no workout at all. I was technically tapering by then, so that was not an issue. Then Saturday was the race, Bryce Canyon 100 mile. It's a decently tough race. It's at elevation, so you're above 7,000 feet and you go up to 9,000 feet with about 15,000 feet of elevation gain. So decently difficult course. In terms of how I felt, I think I felt better coming in Bryce Canyon than I felt coming in Cocodona. I felt that my recovery was much better than my recovery after Fuji. So yeah, I struggled, but not nearly as bad as I could have. And even though it was close, I had the legs to do it. But what I noticed very quickly is that I didn't have necessarily the juice or the power or the energy in me, and I got sleepy extremely quickly. I think even before sunset, I was already kind of dozing off a little bit on my feet, and as soon as the sun came down, I was super sleepy. So I actually slept quite a few times. Sometimes just sitting in the chair, falling asleep, sometimes by the trail, sitting down on a rock, taking 5-10 minutes, and then I go. And really kind of pacing myself. I really felt I was not racing. I was really taking my time to make sure that nothing would kind of break and that I would able to make it to the finish line. It was a great experience. The landscape over there is absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to go to Bryce Canyon National Park. Nora did. It's absolutely gorgeous over there. I had been there before and really recommend if you do Bryce Canyon ultras, regardless of the distance. Yes, you'll see some of those woodoos, I think is all they call them. But you gotta stop by the national park. And I did it. I did a little bit above 30 hours, which is a pretty decent time, honestly. I think if I would go with fresh leg, I would do much faster than that. But very happy on how it went and absolutely don't regret my decision to sign up last minute and do it. And I think that really comes down to having proper recovery, a lot of sleep, a lot of food, and also being in tune with my body, knowing that, yeah, this time I can pull the trigger and let's do it. Which brings us to week 11, last week. And last week was recovery. Work was in between, so it was not as decent as the week before, but it was not crazy either. But what was crazy is that I felt I was falling behind on the channel posting video. It's been a while and I had this amazing movie to put together, Cocodona 250. So I really put in the work and the hours. So sleep was not as perfect, and that's a little bit because of that. But at the same time, when you love what you're doing, it's normal to put so much energy, and that's exactly what I did in that movie. It was really fun to put together and kind of relive the race a little bit. So of course, if you haven't seen the Cocodona movie, I highly suggest you have a look, but I kind of presume that if you're watching this vlog, you probably saw it. So what I would say is go watch it again or share it with someone. And same thing, if you appreciate this vlog, as always, please leave a thumbs up. That may sound little, but it's really helping my video get traction. The easiest way to support me is to leave a thumbs up. Another way, of course, is you leave a comment. Let's interact. I love the interaction. You might have seen actually my Cocodona movie. When I released it, we did a premiere and I was in the chat and we're chatting together. I think I'm going to start doing that more often with movie release for race recap. So go on my Instagram. That's where I announce them usually. And come in, chat with us, ask question. You know, it's fun out there. It's kind of a celebration of the past race. And the last thing that you can do to support the channel, a question that I often ask is what's the gear you're using, what's the watch you're using, and these sorts of questions. Well, I made a list that I put in the description below where these are affiliate links. And what that means really is that these are products that I'm actually using. If you use these links, you're gonna pay the same price and there's a small percentage that goes to me. So you get good gear that I actually use on the trail all the time. You pay the same price and you're contributing to the channel, which I think is a win-win-win-win-win. Anyway, it's positive. It's a good thing. Of course, you don't have to use them, but it's just a way to support the channel and help me create content. So thank you so much. So week 11, and you will see a pattern. It's a lot of the similar days. So on Monday, what I did is a short 2-mile hike. I went for the ride at the gym and I went to the sauna again, stretching, massaging. Tuesday, pretty similar, short ride at the gym, sauna, stretching, massaging, me time, relaxing. Wednesday, we have a little bit of variation. Small walk during lunch, slow ride at the gym, sauna, you get the picture. Thursday, I only had time for a recovery walk, and really at that point, I was really rushing the movie out. Friday was the day of the premiere. It was a day off actually at work, which worked perfectly to wrap up the little detail with the movie and really do everything and also get a little extra sleep. Saturday, I went to the gym with Nora. I did a little bit of running, a little bit of biking, a little bit of sauna. And finally, Sunday is finally the day that I'm back to training. So the next vlog will actually be real training and I'm very excited about that because it's been a while since I had a decent block. Boom, a bunch of people saying hi in the chat, so thank you so much. I couldn't say hi back, but really appreciate. I think I cannot emphasize enough how much it was special to race Cocodona and actually have people follow you on Instagram, people following you on the live track, and every time I was in the live chat just mid-race saying hi and people saying hi back. I mean, it means the world to me that people take the time to say hi, to say thank you. We have Patrick that think I have a YouTube channel. Yes, Patrick, I do have a YouTube channel, Running with Simon. So Arkan spells asked if since I did Fuji 100 only 1 week before Cocodona 250, did it affect my performance at Cocodona? 100%, absolutely no question there. When I came in Cocodona, I was definitely not fully recovered from Mount Fuji. I was, just sleepiness is definitely a factor. You have lower energy, but even just my legs and my body was not 100%. And it's not just the fact that it was 1 week, but also, you travel to Japan, you're jet lagged, you're all messed up from that. And work was pretty intense in the week coming up to Cocodona. And in terms of physical performance, I really felt like day 1, I was already feeling like day 2. I was slower than I could go, and there's no question there. I was really, really struggling. But the further we went along in the race, the more things were almost equal a little bit, because the difference between being day 4 or day 5, you're destroyed by then. There's no difference. So the difference between this is your first day and this is your second day is a huge difference. And I was really slower, but very quickly I stayed stable, whereas I could see that people that were able to keep up with me in the first day were definitely not able to keep up in the following days. But it doesn't mean I necessarily regret it. Honestly, those 3 weeks, these 3 races were races that I was so excited to do, and I really feel like a puppy, like a golden retriever puppy that finds a cake or a full chicken. They're gonna eat the whole thing and they might be sick from that, but it's still the best day of their life. We had Patrick Martin who asked This is my longest race. How does it compare to 100 or 125, which were my longest? I actually did 135 with bad water. And I think for a long distance race like that, time matters more, like the time of the duration that you're racing for. So I think the best comparison for me would actually be Ouray 100, which took me almost 50 hours. I think it was pretty similar in the sense that you get tired after 40 miles at Cocodona. You're gonna be tired. And the only big difference is that usually when you're tired at 40 or 60, you can think, well, I'm halfway there or almost there. Like I just need to push a little bit. But in this case, you're thinking, wow, like I still have 210 miles to go. It becomes very psychological as to tricking yourself to keep going. You need to try to take care of yourself. You cannot deny reality. And in a 250, that's even more obvious. You cannot deny reality that you need to sleep. Your body needs to sleep. You need to eat. You need to sit down sometime. But in a 250, you really benefit from recognizing what is actually the limit of what you can do. Chris Warden is asking, what's my technique for recovery when I'm stacking a race like that? I think the technique even starts from how you race, which I've just described with the mindset of a 200 miler, but that's also how I applied some of my 100 milers, not pushing to my actual limit. So pacing smartly in a race, and then it's really focusing on sleeping, eating, active recovery. So you've seen it in this vlog, a lot of walking, a lot of cycling. I like to go to the sauna. For me, it's both relaxation, but also I think it's helping when your tendons are tight a little bit. I think it's helping me. The question from Alexandra is, who's paying for all of this? I'm not sure if it's directed at me or the race in general. If it's directed at me, of course, I'm paying for all of this. You gotta live rough a little bit. It's pretty rare that I will take a room anymore before a race. I used to do that more often, but now if I can have my car, we're able to set up a bed in the back of our Subaru. It's plenty enough for us. We sleep very well, and you save maybe $100, $150 every time you're racing like that. But you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm not sponsored. Hopefully that will come relatively soon, but I'm not sponsored, so it comes out of my pocket. And of course, I work full time, so I guess my work is paying for that indirectly. So Patrick asks, what's the strategy in terms of sleeping, comparing this to a 100 miler? In a 100 miler, it's true, I will try as much as possible to push through unless I'm literally falling asleep and I feel it's almost dangerous for me to keep going. Find a rock, sit on the rock, close my eyes, sleep for 5 minutes. For me, that's enough to kind of reset. For a 200 miler, for me, really any time that I felt tired enough that I would fall asleep and there was a sleep station, I would take the time to take 1.5 hour. So we have Ultra Crew Hub, Mason saying that I finished Ouray. I did finish Ouray, and Ouray remains the toughest race I've done. So that tells you hopefully a thing or two about how difficult Ouray is. He's finished it too, so kudos to Mason, who's going back every year. I mean, he loves the race. I love it too. It's smack in the middle of summer, so it's tough sometimes to find the time, but it's in the San Juan. It's right next to where Hard Rock is happening. Actually, it's the same area, so it's gorgeous mountain. It's pretty hardcore with 40,000 feet of gain. Highly recommended, but highly recommend that you practice power hiking. We have Jonathan who says, come back home to Quebec or Montreal, obviously, to race Mega Trail 100, Quebec Mega Trail. Well, I'm actually doing Quebec Mega Trail, so I'm doing Bighorn mid-June, and then early July is going to be QMT, Quebec Mega Trail, so I'm going back home. Arkansas says, bro has countless 100 miler, still doesn't consider himself to be pro, humble, you're killing it, dude. Well, I think she's talking about me. Well, I actually have a count of my 100 miler. I think it's 41 now, but pros are at a different level. It's ridiculous how fast they go, and you get really humble, I think, racing side-by-side pros and realizing that even if I wanted to pace them for just 1 mile, I would not be able to keep up with them. I would break an ankle. Jory asked if I slept ran a lot. I slept jog a lot. Well, actually, it was more slept stumbling a lot, especially second night and third night. I was really struggling. It's like being drunk almost. You're kind of gone, but you don't realize that you're gone. And at some point, you're just stumbling on stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, like I'm not doing so well. I would sit down, sleep 5-10 minutes, go again, 1 mile, bang, 1-2 mile. I didn't hallucinate though. I know a lot of people have some super interesting hallucination, super vivid hallucination. I've never had that. The more that I had at one point, I don't know why, but I was under the impression, and it's just, I cannot describe what happened, but I was under the impression that I need to take a right, like as if I had seen a sign that would say, runner turn right, or on my watch. I don't remember seeing any of that, and there were no visual hallucination, but I was kind of convinced that I need to turn right, whereas it was clearly a road that was going straight. So I stopped, I was looking right, and I was like, this doesn't make sense at all. Why would I turn right? And I guess just like kind of seeing that, like seeing the wall of trees was able to snap me out of it and be like, no, I need to continue on the road. In this context, my brain was able to say, well, that doesn't make sense. And I'm sure if there had been a cliff, I would also have said that doesn't make sense. But if there had been a junction, I would have definitely gone that direction. And who knows for how long before I realized that, wait, I'm not on the trail anymore. And that's where a pacer really comes in handy for a race like a 200-mile race. But yeah, I didn't have fancy hallucination where there was a monkey dressed as a hockey player who was selling cars and I felt that I could negotiate a better price. Like, I didn't have hallucination like that. I know some people have that all the time apparently. I guess I'm boring or something, but yeah, that has never happened. So Arkanspell asked if I will do Cocodona next year. Well, I mean, the wait list is already filled up to like 300 or I don't know. It's a good question. If we go back to the personal time off question, it's the same question. It's not easy for me to take a week like that. I think I would really want to do it again. But if I get a full week off like this, would I rather do another 200 miler? I actually have one coming up this fall, but would I want to do some of the destination trail race, Tahoe or Bigfoot or Moab instead of doing Cocodona again? It's hard for me to decide. Okay, so Mark asked, how are my knees? Mark, this is not a question we ask to me. This is a question I ask to people, so I will not answer. But for the record, my knees are fine. My elbow is another question. But yeah, that was not an issue at all. Greg said, thank you for the great content. Well, thanks for watching it. Honestly, that's why I do it. It's hopefully people are watching and enjoying, and it really matters to me to see that people are appreciating. So whenever you leave a comment saying that, like, it matters. It matters. Even if there's 50 comments that says the same thing, it matters to me, and I take the time. Almost any comments, at least on YouTube. On Instagram it's a little harder, but on YouTube usually I try to take the time to answer. Because I put a lot of love into that and a lot of caring into that, because I hope that these videos have an impact on people. I hope that these videos help make trail and ultra running more accessible. I hope that these videos will inspire you or will help you be successful in your adventure. And knowing that it's actually achieving the goal, it matters, because it is a lot of work to put all of these videos together. And sometimes it's 3 a.m. and you're editing a movie and you're wondering, why am I doing that? This is not fun to be editing right now in the middle of the night. But the reason is exactly for that. The reason is exactly because it's helping people have their own adventure. And if that's the case, then it's definitely worthwhile. We have Ragnar Axe. I think he's in Sweden. Tell Simon that Ragnar says hello. And I cannot help but remember the scene in Hangover. I think it's the second one. Or
when you see Chow, you tell him Samir says hello. Okay. But do it like that, okay? Hello. Okay. Hello. 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 One O. Hello. Hello. Go away.
But I know that's not what you mean. So hello. They didn't tell me. They didn't have time to read all of the chat, but I appreciate that you guys were listening to the interview. And again, they didn't post it in a separate interview. I'll put the link in the description below, which is the timestamp of when in the live feed the interview was happening. And that's about it. I mean, a few others saying hi or saying thank you. I mean, thank you for listening. All right, so that's it for the vlog. As always, if you appreciate the video, please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and a big thank you and a big shout out to everyone who supported the channel financially. Obviously, I'm working now a little bit more to try and have some sponsors. I don't know that it's gonna happen anytime soon, but it's helping me create that material and keep the channel alive. So thank you so much, and see you next time.